The massive Xanthari observation ship hung silently in the darkness of space, its organic hull gleaming with a soft purple light. Inside, Chief Observer Amanda Clark stared at the readings on her screen for the third time, her tentacles twitching with excitement. After 50,000 years of exploring space and guiding younger races, the Xanthari rarely found anything that surprised them. But these energy signatures were unlike anything they had seen before. "Chief Observer, you need to see this," Lieutenant John Howard called from his station. His human-formed shell, which the Xanthari used for diplomatic missions, looked tense. "The energy readings are getting stronger. Whatever's out there, it's big." Amanda moved across the bridge with practiced grace, her own human-formed shell matching her natural movements perfectly. The Xanthari had learned long ago that appearing in their true form often frightened younger species. Their habit of taking human shape during first contact missions had served them well for millennia. "Show me the visual scans," she ordered, leaning over John's console. The holographic display flickered to life, showing what looked like a massive metal construct floating in space. It was roughly cylindrical, covered in strange patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. More concerning were the dozens of smaller objects moving around it in perfect formation. "Size comparison?" Amanda asked, her voice steady despite her growing unease. "The central structure is approximately 3 kilometers long. The smaller units range from 50 to 200 meters in length." John paused, checking another reading. "And they're all completely automated. No life signs detected." Amanda felt a chill run through her shell's artificial spine. In all their years of exploration, the Xanthari had never encountered a species that trusted machines to guard their territory. Organic technology had always proven superior, more adaptable, more alive. Yet here was evidence of something very different. "Try hailing them," she ordered. "Standard first contact protocols." The communication officer sent out the carefully crafted message that had worked with hundreds of species before. They waited. Seconds turned into minutes. Suddenly, every screen on the bridge lit up with the same message, transmitted in perfect Xanthari language. "Unidentified vessel. You have entered restricted space. Maintain current position. Any movement will be considered hostile action." The bridge crew froze. No young species had ever responded in their language before first contact. It should have been impossible. "They've scanned our databases," John said, his voice filled with disbelief. "They've analyzed our language, our protocols, everything." In less than 5 minutes, before Amanda could respond, new objects began appearing around their ship. They were smaller than the first group, each about the size of a shuttle, but their movements were precise and coordinated in a way that made them seem more like a single organism. "Alert status?" Amanda asked, keeping her voice calm. "They haven't powered up any weapons," the tactical officer reported, "but they've positioned themselves in a containment pattern. We couldn't leave if we wanted to." Amanda made a quick decision. "Send another message. Tell them we're a peaceful observation mission from the Xanthari Collective. We mean no harm and wish to establish diplomatic contact." The response came instantly. "Understood. Maintaining quarantine protocols. Stand by for human representative." The word human representative caught Amanda's attention. They had heard of humans before, a relatively young species that had achieved faster than light travel only 3 centuries ago. The Xanthari Council had been planning to make contact soon, to guide them as they had guided so many others. But this display of technological advancement suggested they had severely underestimated humanity's capabilities. Hours passed as they waited, watched by the silent mechanical guardians. The crew grew increasingly nervous as more constructs appeared, each different from the last. Some were clearly defensive platforms, while others seemed designed for observation or analysis. All moved with the same unnerving precision. Finally, a new ship appeared. Unlike the mechanical constructs, this one was clearly designed for diplomatic purposes. It was smaller than the Xanthari vessel, but elegant in its simplicity, its hull gleaming white against the darkness of space. A new message appeared: "Xanthari vessel. Prepare for arrival of diplomatic team. Maintain position. Amanda watched as a small shuttle launched from the human ship. As it approached, she couldn't help but notice how different it was from their own technology. Where Zentheri ships were organic, flowing, almost artistic in their design, this shuttle was all clean lines and measured angles. It spoke of a mindset that valued precision over aesthetics. The shuttle docked with their ship with perfect precision. Amanda and her senior staff waited in the reception area, all in their human form shells. The airlock cycled, and 3 figures stepped through. The leader was a tall man with gray hair and a stern expression. He wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decorations. "I'm Director Peter Martinez of Earth's Deep Space Defense Initiative," he said, his voice carrying authority without aggression. "I understand you're quite far from your usual territory, Chief Observer Clark." Amanda managed to hide her surprise at him, knowing her name and rank. "We detected unusual energy signatures in this sector," she explained. "We came to investigate, as is our standard protocol with potentially developing civilizations." Martinez's smile didn't reach his eyes. Yes. Your guidance protocols. We're familiar with them. You'll find, however, that humanity has chosen a different path than the organic tech civilizations you usually encounter." He gestured to the window, where one of the smaller constructs had moved closer, giving them a clear view of its intricate surface. "What you're seeing is just a small part of our automated defense network. Earth learned long ago that the best way to protect ourselves was to remove human error from the equation. Everything you've encountered so far has been automated, running on our Guardian Artificial Intelligence Network." Amanda felt her shell's hands grow cold, a programmed response to stress. "You trust machines to make defensive decisions without organic oversight." "Trust implies uncertainty," Martins replied. "We don't trust them. We know exactly what they'll do because we designed them to be better at their jobs than any human or alien could ever be. They don't sleep. They don't hesitate. They don't show mercy unless specifically instructed to do so." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I'm here as a courtesy, and because our machines indicated you genuinely didn't know you were entering restricted space. But make no mistake, if your presence had been deemed truly hostile, this conversation would not be happening." For the first time in her long career, Amanda felt truly out of her depth. The Zentheri had encountered thousands of species, guided hundreds toward what they considered proper technological development. But humans had developed something entirely different, something that went against everything the Zentheri believed about the natural order of technological evolution. "We would like to establish diplomatic relations," she said carefully. "Perhaps we could learn from each other." Martins nodded slowly. "That's why I'm here. But first, you need to understand something crucial about humanity. We don't need guidance. We don't want it. We've built our civilization on the principle that the best defense is one that never sleeps, never fears, and never underestimates a potential threat." He gestured to the mechanical constructs outside. "These are not just our guardians. They're a message to the galaxy. Humanity will not be guided, controlled, or threatened by anyone." As Amanda looked out at the silent machines surrounding her ship, she realized that the Zentheri's first contact with humanity had just changed everything. They hadn't found another species to guide. They had found something entirely new, a civilization that had rejected the path every other known species had taken, creating something both magnificent and terrifying in its perfection. And somewhere deep in her consciousness, she wondered if perhaps it was the Zentheri who had something to learn from humanity, rather than the other way around. The great hall of the Zentheri Council glowed with soft bioluminescent light as Amanda Clark finished her report. Her human form shell stood perfectly still before the semicircle of elder counselors, all in their natural forms, massive tentacled beings whose skin shifted colors with their emotions. Right now, most of them showed shades of deep orange, a sign of dismissal and disbelief. "These humans," First Elder Varath's thoughts echoed in the chamber. "You say they've given control of their defenses to machines." "Yes, Elder," Amanda replied. Their automated systems are far more advanced than anything we've encountered before. Lieutenant John Howard stood beside her, his shell's hands clasped behind his back. The humans have developed artificial intelligence beyond our understanding. Their machines can make complex decisions in nanoseconds. The council chamber filled with ripples of blue-green light, the color of amusement. Amanda felt her heart sink. They weren't taking this seriously. Young races often experiment with mechanical solutions, Second Elder Marath responded. They all learn, in time, that organic technology is superior. It is why we guide them. Amanda stepped forward. With respect, elders, these humans are different. Their director Martinez showed us just a small part of their capabilities. Their machines don't just follow orders. They think. They adapt. Enough. Varath's skin flashed bright red. We have guided thousands of species over 50,000 years. Humans have barely achieved spaceflight. They are children playing with dangerous toys. John spoke up, his voice firm. Children with toys that could tear apart our most advanced ships before we could even react. The council chamber grew silent. Amanda watched as the elders' colors shifted to deeper shades, a sign they were communicating privately among themselves. After several minutes, Varath's voice filled the chamber again. We have made our decision. The humans clearly need our guidance more urgently than we thought. We will send the guidance fleet to their territory. No. Amanda's outburst echoed through the chamber. Elders, please. This would be a terrible mistake. Their machines will see it as an act of aggression. The guidance fleet has never failed, Third Elder Kunnath stated. 200 ships carrying our most advanced organic technology. It is how we show young races the proper path. John stepped forward. The humans' machines won't care about your intentions. They'll only see a threat, and they'll respond accordingly. Your concern is noted, Varath said dismissively. But the council has decided. The guidance fleet will depart within 3 cycles. You are both dismissed. Outside the council chamber, Amanda leaned against a living wall, feeling its gentle pulse against her shell's back. They're going to get our people killed. John nodded grimly. They can't accept that a young race could develop something beyond our understanding. Their pride won't let them see the truth. We have to do something, Amanda said. Maybe if we could get more evidence, show them the full capabilities of the human defenses. They won't listen. John's voice was bitter. They see humans as primitive because they chose machines over organic tech. The council can't imagine a different path being successful. In her quarters later that night, Amanda reviewed the sensor data from their encounter with the human defense platforms. The more she studied it, the more concerned she became. The machines had analyzed their ship, language, and culture in minutes. They had deployed countermeasures perfectly tailored to Zentheri technology without showing any signs of aggressive intent. It was a display of precision and capability that should have terrified the council. She sent a message to John. Meet me in Observation Room 3. Bring the tactical data. When they met, John had already pulled up a holographic display of the Human Defense Network. I've been analyzing their deployment patterns, he said. Look at this. The display showed how the machines had positioned themselves around the Zentheri ship. They weren't just containing us, John explained. They were gathered in a way that could have disabled every major system on our ship simultaneously. One command, and we would have been helpless. And that was just their outer defense line, Amanda added. We never saw what else they might have hidden deeper in their territory. They spent hours going through the data, documenting every capability they had witnessed. The more they studied, the clearer it became. The guidance fleet would be walking into a disaster. The next morning, Amanda made one final attempt to warn the council. She stood before them again, presenting their analysis in clear, undeniable terms. She showed them how the human machines had outmaneuvered their best stealth technology, how they had adapted to every scan and probe the Zentheri ship had attempted. These humans have created something new, she pleaded. Something we don't understand. Sending the guidance fleet won't show them the proper path. It will only prove that we're too arrogant to recognize when we've met our match. But the council had already made up their minds. They saw what they wanted to see, a young race that needed to be shown the error of their ways. Their pride, built over 50,000 years of successful guidance, wouldn't let them accept any other possibility. As Amanda watched the guidance fleet depart 3 days later, its 200 ships shimmering with organic technology, she felt a deep sense of dread. The fleet's commander had dismissed her warnings just as the council had. They were convinced their superior numbers and advanced organic technology would be enough to impress the humans into accepting their guidance. "They have no idea what they're about to wake up," John said quietly, standing beside her at the observation window. Amanda thought about Director Martinez's words during their meeting. They don't sleep. They don't hesitate. They don't show mercy unless specifically instructed to do so. "No," she replied. "They don't. And our people are about to learn that the hard way." As the fleet disappeared into hyperspace, Amanda sent one final message to Earth's diplomatic channels, warning them of what was coming. She knew the machines would intercept it first. Perhaps they would understand that not all Xanthuri supported this foolish display of force. The response came back almost instantly. Message received. Defensive protocols engage. Suggest all non-hostile Xanthuri vessels maintain distance of 50 light-years from Earth space until situation resolves. Amanda showed the message to John. They both understood what it meant. The machines were giving them a chance to stay safe, to avoid being caught in whatever response they had planned for the guidance fleet. "May the ancestors help them," John whispered, watching the last traces of the fleet fade away. "They have no idea what horrors they're about to encounter." Amanda nodded slowly. The council wanted to teach humans about proper technological development. Instead, they're about to learn a very different lesson, about pride and assumptions, and the dangers of underestimating a species that chose to put their faith in machines that never sleep. The observation room fell silent as they contemplated what was to come. Somewhere out there, humanity's mechanical guardians were waiting, their perfect minds already calculating countless scenarios, preparing responses to every possible action. And for the first time in 50,000 years, the Xanthuri were about to face something they couldn't predict or control. The age of guidance was about to meet the age of machines, and nothing would ever be the same. Deep beneath the icy surface of Titan, Saturn's largest moon, Director Peter Martinez stood in the heart of Earth's Defense Command Center. Blue light from dozens of holographic displays cast shadows across his face as he watched the Xanthuri fleet's approach. "Time to intercept," he asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. 4 hours, 17 minutes, replied Susan Reynolds, the major in charge of the first response team. She gestured at one of the displays, where red dots showed the incoming fleet. 200 ships, just as the warning message said. Peter nodded slowly. He had known this was coming since their first contact with the Xanthuri observation ship. Their machines had analyzed the alien psychology perfectly. Pride and arrogance, after 50,000 years of unopposed expansion, made them predictable. "Begin wake-up sequence for the Guardian Network," he ordered. Around him, the command center hummed to life. Deep in the artificial caverns of Titan, millions of processors began powering up. The Guardian Network wasn't just a defense system. It was humanity's ultimate creation, the result of 3 centuries of development in artificial intelligence and robotics. Susan's fingers flew across her control panel. Wake-up sequence initiated. All dormant units responding. Across the solar system, hidden facilities began their activation protocols. Asteroids that weren't asteroids at all split open, revealing nests of combat units. Gas giant monitoring stations transformed into weapon platforms. Clouds of nanomachines stirred from their sleep, ready to form into whatever shapes the Guardian Network required. "Show me the fleet composition analysis," Peter said. A new display appeared, showing detailed scans of the Xanthuri ships. The machines had been studying them since their first encounter, learning their capabilities, finding their weaknesses. "Their technology is impressive," Susan admitted. The organic ships can heal damage, adapt to energy weapons, even reproduce in combat if necessary. She paused, bringing up another display. But they're slow. Their fastest reaction time is measured in seconds. Ours is measured in nanoseconds. Peter watched as more displays lit up around the room. Each showed a different aspect of Earth's defenses coming online. The Guardian network was fully autonomous, but it still provided humans with updates about its activities, not because it needed permission, but because its creators had programmed it to understand the importance of keeping humans informed. First wave deployment complete, Susan reported. 60,000 small combat units are in position. Second wave will be ready in 30 minutes. The small units were just the beginning. Each one was about the size of a car, powered by miniature fusion reactors, and controlled by an eye that could think faster than any organic brain. They could combine into larger forms, split apart to avoid damage, or sacrifice themselves to protect more valuable assets. "Sir," one of the technicians called out, "we're detecting energy signatures from the Xanthari fleet. They're preparing to exit faster than light travel." Peter straightened his uniform. "Put me through to all command centers." When the communication link was ready, he spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Director Martinez. In approximately 4 hours, we will engage in our first major combat operation against an alien force. The Xanthari believe they are coming to teach us a lesson. Instead, they will learn why humanity chose to trust its defense to machines that never tire, never fear, and never make mistakes." He paused, looking at the displays showing Earth's forces taking position. "The Guardian network has full autonomy to respond to this threat. Our role is to observe and learn. Remember your training. Trust the machines. They were built for this moment." As he finished speaking, new alerts flashed across the screens. The Xanthari fleet had arrived at the edge of the solar system. Their 200 ships, each one a marvel of organic technology, moved in perfect formation toward Earth. "They're broadcasting a message," Susan reported. "Text only, translated into all Earth languages." Peter nodded. "Show me." The message appeared on the main screen. "People of Earth, we come to guide you toward the proper path of technological development. Disable your mechanical abominations and prepare to receive our wisdom. Resistance will be met with appropriate correction." A small smile crossed Peter's face. "Send our response. Standard Protocol Omega." Seconds later, a simple message flashed back toward the Xanthari fleet. "Approach beyond this point will be considered a hostile action. Your ships will be destroyed. This is your only warning." "They're still advancing," Susan reported. "No change in their formation." Peter watched as the Guardian Network's combat prediction algorithms ran through millions of scenarios per second. The machines weren't just preparing for battle. They were preparing to teach a lesson that would be remembered for millennia. Multiple divisions detected in the Xanthari fleet. A technician called out. "They're splitting into attack formations." On the main display, the red dots representing Xanthari ships spread out into a complex pattern. It would have been impressive against any organic opponent. Against Earth's machines, it was meaningless. "Guardian Network is responding," Susan said, her voice tight with anticipation. "All units report ready for engagement." Peter watched as green dots representing Earth's defense units began to move. There were thousands of them now, with more awakening every minute. The machines moved with perfect coordination, each one aware of all the others, forming patterns too complex for human minds to fully comprehend. "Sir," Susan said quietly, "the first Xanthari ships have crossed the outer defense line." Peter nodded slowly. "Then it begins. Let them see what humanity's machines can do." Across the void of space, Earth's mechanical guardians began to move. They had waited centuries for this moment, their artificial minds perfecting combat strategies no organic brain could conceive. They were humanity's shield, its sword, and its warning to the galaxy. And they were about to show the ancient Xanthari why some warnings should be heeded. In the command center, Peter watched the displays light up with weapon signatures and energy readings. The machines were engaging the enemy, their movements precise and deadly. There would be no hesitation, no mercy, no chance for the Zenthari to realize their mistake and retreat. All units executing combat protocols, Susan reported, her voice steady as she monitored the data streams. The Guardian network has full tactical control. Peter stood in silence, watching humanity's greatest creation do what it was built for. The Zenthari had come to teach humanity about proper technological development. Instead, they were about to learn why Earth had chosen a different path, a path where machines never slept, never doubted, and never lost. The battle for Earth's independence was about to begin, and the mechanical nightmares were finally awake. Major Susan Reynolds watched in awe as the first wave of Earth's defensive units engaged the Zenthari fleet. The massive display screen in the Titan Command Center showed thousands of individual battles happening at once. The machines moved like a deadly dance, each step calculated with perfect precision. First contact in Sector 7. A technician reported. Zenthari ships attempting to use energy weapons. On the screen, several organic ships fired brilliant beams of light at the approaching Earth units, but the machines had already calculated these attacks before they happened. Small combat units split apart seconds before the beams reached them, then reformed in new patterns, completely undamaged. "Show me Unit Group Alpha's status," Susan ordered. The display shifted, focusing on one particular group of Earth's machines. They were relatively small, each about the size of a bus, but they moved together like a swarm of deadly insects. As she watched, they surrounded a Zenthari cruiser that was 3 times their size. The Zenthari ship is attempting to heal itself, Peter Martinez noted from his position behind her. Their organic technology is trying to adapt. But it was too late. The machines had already analyzed the Zenthari ship's repair patterns. They struck precisely where the healing process was weakest, their weapons firing in perfect synchronization. The massive alien vessel split apart like a flower blooming in space. 23 Zenthari ships disabled. The tactical officer reported. "No losses among our units yet." Susan nodded, but kept her eyes on the battle display. The Guardian network was performing exactly as designed. Each machine learned from every shot fired, every move made. They shared this information instantly across the entire network, making them all stronger with each passing second. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Zenthari command ship." "Put it through," Peter ordered. The voice that filled the command center was filled with disbelief. "This is impossible. Your machines, they're coordinating too quickly. No system can react this fast." Peter didn't respond. There was no need. The machines were delivering humanity's message more effectively than words ever could. On the main display, the battle continued to unfold. The Zenthari ships tried to adapt, their organic technology attempting to evolve new defenses. But the machines were evolving faster, their artificial minds processing millions of possibilities every second. "Second wave engaging now," Susan reported. New groups of Earth's units emerged from their hiding places in the asteroid belt. These were larger, more heavily armed. While the first wave had been designed to test and wear down the enemy, the second wave was built for pure combat. Zenthari fleet attempting to regroup, the tactical officer noted. They're forming a defensive sphere. Susan watched as the alien ships pulled together, their organic hulls actually growing physical connections between vessels. It was an impressive display of their technology. 100 ships joining together to form one massive living fortress. "Guardian network is responding," she said, studying the data streams. "Initiating protocol Omega-7. The effect was immediate. Earth's machines suddenly changed their entire attack pattern. The smaller units merged together into larger forms, while the bigger units split apart into swarms of tiny fighters. It was like watching a kaleidoscope of deadly metal, constantly shifting and changing. "The Zenthari don't know which units to target," Peter observed. "Their targeting systems can't keep up with the transformations." He was right. The alien ships were firing desperately now, their energy weapons cutting beautiful but useless patterns through space. Earth's machines were moving too fast, changing shape too quickly. Each blast that hit simply passed through empty space where a unit had been a microsecond before. Incoming transmission from Amanda Clark's ship, the communications officer announced. They're observing from the safe zone. Susan remembered the Zenthari officer who had tried to warn her people. She had been one of the few who understood what they were facing. Put it on screen, Peter ordered. Amanda's face appeared, her human form shell showing clear signs of stress. Director Martinez, please. You've made your point. The guidance fleet is defeated. Show mercy. Peter looked at the battle display, where Earth's machines continued their relentless assault. The Guardian Network will show mercy when the Zenthari surrender completely and withdraw from our space. Those are its parameters. As if to emphasize his point, a new wave of combat units emerged from hiding spots throughout the solar system. These were different from the others, larger, more menacing. They moved with deadly grace toward the Zenthari defensive sphere, heavy assault units detecting structural weaknesses in the Zenthari formation. Susan reported, they're preparing to exploit them. The command center watched in silence as Earth's machines demonstrated their full capabilities. The new units fired weapons that seemed to ignore the Zenthari's defensive shields completely. They had analyzed the alien technology so thoroughly that they knew exactly how to bypass it. Zenthari ships breaking formation. The tactical officer announced. Multiple vessels attempting emergency faster than light jumps. But the machines had predicted this too. Small units attached themselves to the fleeing ships, preventing them from entering hyperspace. The message was clear. No one would escape until the battle was properly concluded. Incoming general broadcast from the Zenthari command ship, the communications officer said. This time, the voice that filled the command center was shaking. We surrender. Please, call off your machines. Peter nodded to Susan. She entered the command codes that would transmit new parameters to the Guardian Network. The machines immediately ceased their attack, but maintained their positions, weapons ready. Your surrender is accepted, Peter replied to the Zenthari. You will withdraw all remaining ships from Earth space immediately. You will acknowledge Earth's independence and our right to develop technology as we see fit. And you will carry a message back to your council. What? What message? The Zenthari commander asked. Peter's voice was calm but firm. Tell them that humanity chose machines over organic technology, not because we didn't understand the alternatives, but because we understood them too well. We built the Guardian Network to be everything we're not. Tireless, precise, and absolutely dedicated to our defense. Today was just a small demonstration of its capabilities. The remains of the Zenthari fleet began to retreat, their once proud organic ships now scared and broken. Of the 200 vessels that had arrived, barely 50 remained functional enough to leave. All Zenthari ships withdrawing, Susan reported. Guardian Network is tracking them to ensure they leave our space. Peter watched them go, knowing that humanity had just changed its position in the galaxy forever. The Zenthari had come to teach them about proper technological development. Instead, they had learned that humanity's path, the path of machines that never slept, never tired, and never showed mercy until ordered to do so, was not to be underestimated. Stand down to alert level 2, he ordered. Have the Guardian Network begin repairs and prepare for possible counterattacks. As the command center staff carried out his orders, Peter looked at the main display one last time. Earth's machines were already returning to their hiding places, ready to sleep until needed again. They had performed perfectly, just as they were designed to do. The mechanical nightmares were going back to sleep, but the galaxy would never forget what they could do when awakened. Lead engineer Catherine Morgan floated in zero gravity beside a captured Zenthari ship, her work suit's lights illuminating the strange organic hull. 3 days had passed since the battle, and Earth scientists were eager to study the alien technology up close. Amazing, she whispered, running a scanner over the ship's surface. The entire hull is alive. It's still trying to heal itself, even now. Behind her, several of Earth's smaller maintenance units hovered patiently, their sensors recording everything. They looked like metal spiders, each about the size of a human, with multiple arms holding various tools and instruments. "Control, are you getting these readings?" she asked into her radio. "Confirmed." Peter Martinez's voice came back. "The organic technology is more advanced than we thought, but there's something else you need to see. Sending a maintenance unit to your location." One of the spider-like machines moved forward, projecting a hologram into the space in front of Catherine. It showed a series of decoded transmissions from the Xanthuri fleet during the battle. "We finished analyzing their communications," Peter explained. "They weren't just arrogant. They were genuinely trying to help us in their own way." Catherine studied the transmissions, her eyes widening as she understood. The Xanthuri hadn't come to conquer Earth. They truly believed they were doing the right thing, guiding younger races away from what they saw as dangerous technology. "They were afraid for us," she said softly. "They thought we were putting ourselves in danger by relying on machines." "Keep reading," Peter instructed. As she went through more transmissions, Catherine saw how the Xanthuri's fear had turned to terror during the battle. They hadn't just been afraid of losing. They had been afraid of what humanity's machines represented. "Moving to the next section of the hull," she reported, pushing herself along the damaged ship. The maintenance units followed silently, their movements precise and careful. A new voice came over the radio. Susan Reynolds, who had commanded the first wave during the battle. "Catherine, we're picking up some strange energy readings from the ship's core. Can you check it out?" Catherine directed her scanner toward the center of the vessel. "There's something odd here. The organic technology isn't just about healing or adaptation. It's learning." She watched as patterns of light moved under the transparent sections of the hull, like blood flowing through veins. The ship was still alive, still thinking, even in its damaged state. "I'm going to try something," she said, pulling a small device from her tool belt. It was an interface unit, designed to communicate with the Guardian network. "Let's see if we can talk to it." The maintenance units moved closer, ready to protect her if necessary. Catherine attached the interface to the hull and activated it. Almost immediately, streams of data began flowing. "This is incredible," she breathed. "The ship's core consciousness is still active. It's trying to understand how it was defeated." Back in the Titan Command Center, Peter and Susan watched the data pour in. The Xanthuri ships weren't just vessels. They were living beings, grown and trained for space travel. Each one had its own consciousness, its own experiences. "Play back the ship's memory of the battle," Peter ordered. The holographic display filled with images from the Xanthuri ship's perspective. They watched as Earth's machines attacked, their movements too fast for the organic technology to counter. But more than that, they saw the fear, not just of defeat, but of what these machines represented. "They've never seen anything like our technology," Susan noted. "Their entire civilization is based on growing and nurturing organic tech. Our machines must seem like nightmares," Catherine finished over the radio. "To them, we've created something unnatural, something that goes against everything they believe about proper technological development." She continued her examination of the hull, the maintenance units helping her take samples and readings. "But look at how their technology works. It's beautiful. The way it adapts, the way it tries to understand and grow. They're not wrong about organic tech being amazing. They're just wrong about it being the only way," Peter added. A new alert flashed across the screens in the command center. "Incoming transmission," Susan reported. "It's from Amanda Clark's ship." Peter nodded. "Put her through." Amanda's face appeared on the screen, her human form shell looking tired but determined. "Director Martinez, we've been analyzing the battle data. There's something you need to know." "Go ahead," Peter said. "Your machines, they could have destroyed our entire fleet in the first few minutes. Instead, they used minimal force, disabled rather than destroyed when possible, and gave us every chance to retreat." She paused. They showed restraint. Catherine, still working on the captured ship, smiled at this. Of course they did. That's how we programmed them. They're not just weapons. They're protectors. The Council needs to understand this, Amanda continued. You haven't just created powerful weapons. You've created something new, something that combines the precision of machines with human judgment. Peter looked at the battle data scrolling across his screens. The Guardian network had performed perfectly, following its core directives. Protect humanity, minimize loss of life when possible, and demonstrate overwhelming capability to prevent future conflicts. Maybe that's the real lesson here, Susan suggested. It's not about organic versus mechanical technology. It's about finding the right path for each civilization. Catherine's voice came over the radio again. I think I found something else. The ship, it's not just trying to heal itself. It's trying to communicate with our maintenance units. Everyone watched as new data streams appeared on their displays. The Xanthari ship was reaching out to Earth's machines, trying to understand them. And the machines, following their programming to learn and adapt, were carefully responding. Two technologies, Peter mused, each advanced in their own way, learning from each other. That's what we should be doing, Amanda said. Learning from each other, not trying to force one path on everyone. Catherine continued her work on the captured ship, but her mind was racing with possibilities. Think about it. If we could combine their organic technology's ability to heal and adapt with our machine's speed and precision. One step at a time, Peter cautioned. First, we need to establish real diplomatic relations. The Xanthari need time to understand what they've encountered here. On the main display, they could see the maintenance units and the Xanthari ship continuing their careful exchange of information. It was like watching two very different species learning each other's language for the first time. They came here to teach us, Susan said quietly. Instead, both sides are learning something new. Catherine looked at the strange, beautiful patterns flowing through the Xanthari ship's hull, then at the precise, mechanical movements of Earth's maintenance units. Two paths of technological development, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, each with something to teach the other. The fear was still there. It would take time for the Xanthari to fully accept humanity's mechanical guardians. But understanding was beginning to replace that fear, one small discovery at a time. Admiral Frank Bennett stood at the observation window of Earth's new space station, watching as both human and Xanthari ships moved carefully around each other. 1 month had passed since the battle that changed everything. Now, representatives from both civilizations were meeting to forge a lasting peace. The Xanthari diplomatic ship is requesting final docking clearance, an officer reported from behind him. Frank nodded. Grant them permission. Have our maintenance units guide them in. Several of Earth's spider-like machines moved to escort the organic Xanthari vessel. The alien ship followed their guidance without hesitation, a small but significant sign of growing trust. In the station's main conference room, Catherine Morgan made final adjustments to her presentation. The wall screens showed detailed analyses of both Earth's mechanical technology and the Xanthari's organic systems. Peter Martinez stood nearby, reviewing his notes. Are you ready for this? Peter asked her. Catherine took a deep breath. Ready to tell an ancient civilization that everything they believe about technological development needs to change. Sure, no pressure. The door slid open, and Amanda Clark entered with several other Xanthari representatives, all in their human form shells. Behind them came members of the Xanthari Council itself, the first time they had ever traveled to meet a younger race. Welcome to Unity Station, Frank said, stepping forward to greet them. We appreciate you coming all this way. First Elder Verath, now wearing a human form shell out of respect for the occasion, nodded slowly. Recent events have taught us the importance of reconsidering our assumptions. They all took their seats around the large conference table. On one side sat the humans, with their small maintenance units standing quietly in the corners. On the other side sat the Xanthari, their organic technology subtly shifting and adjusting to make them more comfortable. Before we begin, Amanda said, I want to acknowledge something. My people were wrong about Earth. We were wrong about mechanical technology. And we were wrong to think that our way was the only way forward. Catherine stepped up to the main display. What we've learned in the past month suggests that both our civilizations have developed remarkable technologies, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. She brought up detailed scans of the Xanthari ships. Your organic technology can heal, adapt, and evolve in ways our machines can't match. It's intuitive, creative, and capable of genuine growth. Next, she showed images of Earth's defense units. Our machines are faster, more precise, and can coordinate on a scale that organic systems can't achieve. They never tire, never lose focus, and can process information at incredible speeds. Yet they showed mercy, one of the council members noted. During the battle, they could have destroyed us completely. Instead, they disabled our ships with minimal loss of life. Peter stepped forward, because that's how we designed them. Our machines are not just weapons. They're extensions of human values. They protect us, but they also represent our hope for peaceful coexistence. The displays changed to show new images, designs that combined elements of both technologies. We believe, Catherine continued, that there's a middle path, a way to learn from each other without either side having to abandon their principles. She gestured to a small device on the table. It was a prototype, built with help from both human and Xanthari engineers. This is just one example, a medical unit that combines your organic healing technology with our mechanical precision. The question, Frank said, is whether we can move forward together. Not as teacher and student, but as equals with different perspectives. The council members communicated silently among themselves for a moment, their shells remaining still while their true forms exchanged thoughts. Finally, Varath spoke. For 50,000 years, we have guided younger races toward what we thought was the only proper path. We believed organic technology was superior because it was alive, because it could grow and learn. He looked at one of the maintenance units in the corner. But your machines, they are alive in their own way. Different, yes, but no less remarkable. They think, they learn, they protect. And most importantly, they reflect the values of their creators. Amanda smiled. Perhaps that's what we should have been teaching all along. Not which technology to choose, but how to ensure that our creations, whether organic or mechanical, represent the best of what we can be. Then let's make it official, Frank said, bringing up the proposed treaty on the main display. Earth acknowledges the value of organic technology and agrees to share our mechanical advances. The Xanthari recognize Earth's independence and right to develop along our own path. Together, we establish a new framework for technological cooperation. As they reviewed the treaty terms, Catherine noticed something interesting on her datapad. The maintenance units in the room had begun a subtle exchange with the organic components of the Xanthari delegate shells. Without being instructed to, both technologies were already learning from each other. Look, she whispered to Peter, showing him the readings. It's already happening. Both systems adapting, finding ways to work together. Peter smiled. Maybe that's the real victory here, not the battle we won, but the peace we're building. The signing ceremony was brief but meaningful. As each delegate added their authorization, both human and Xanthari technology recorded and verified the process in their own unique ways. There's one more thing, Amanda said after the treaties were signed. The council has a proposal. Varath nodded. We have discussed this at length. Earth's machines proved not only their power but their wisdom. We would like to establish a joint defense initiative. Your Guardian network, working together with our organic ships, could protect both our peoples. Frank exchanged looks with Peter and Catherine. This was more than they had hoped for, a chance not just for peace, but for true collaboration. The machines would need to be reprogrammed to recognize Xanthari ships as allies, Peter said. And your organic technology would need to learn to communicate with our systems. Exactly, Amanda replied. A true joining of paths, each making the other stronger. As the meeting concluded, Frank returned to the observation window. Outside, Earth's mechanical units and Xanthari organic ships continued their careful dance around each other. But now there was something different about their movements. A growing synchronization, a sense of harmony between the two technologies. "It's quite a view, isn't it?" Catherine said, joining him at the window. Frank nodded. The mechanical nightmares that the Xanthari feared turned out to be the key to a better future for both our peoples. And the organic technology we never considered turned out to be exactly what we needed to make our machines even better, she added. Together they watched as a new era began, one where ancient wisdom and modern innovation worked together, where mechanical precision and organic adaptability combined to create something greater than either civilization had imagined possible. The nightmares had become dreams of a better future, and the galaxy would never be the same.